Good brother. Okay. So yeah, we can go over what we went over when we was on the phone. Uh, so basically, you all this 5D stuff. It's kind of strange when I'm going over it again, and I just talked to you, but it's okay, I guess. Okay, so all the 5D stuff. We're going into they say we're going into the fifth dimension, and the along with the Delores Cannon stuff, like what I was telling you from before, to where she was doing, man, what's the name of this stuff again? I keep forgetting.
Regression, hypnosis, past
Yeah,
life
yeah,
regression.
yeah. Regression hypnosis, and she would get these entities to come in, and it would always be the same entities because they'd pick up with her, and it'd be different people, but it'd be the same entities coming in. And this entity was telling her stuff. That's why she wrote the books, the convoluted universe books, where these entities were basically telling her about, the life after death, what what happens, and how people they'll die, and they will go up to this realm to where it'd be peaceful and serene, and they'd have their own place, and they'd have to go through, and then after a while these entities will come get them and tell them, hey, you got karma to clear up and stuff, and they'd basically send them back down to earth. And but the people would always be saying what they don't want to go, but they always convinced them to go on back, go. But they say you got a choice, but it's really like they was running. It's really like they running a whole pimp game on them, convincing them to come back to where when you say, well, you forced me to come back, they can say, no, well, you volunteered because I didn't make you to do anything. I coerced you to do it, but you volunteered for that.
So all this
So
happened in the spirit world.
yeah, yeah. So basically, so they can send you back and not be responsible for sending you back because they can say you volunteered. I just put it to them, and eventually they said, yeah, you know, uh,
So I feel like when you was talking, like you gave some examples, you were like, they said, "Oh, you want to go clear up some karma,"
your
or
your karma to clear up your karmic debt, and that goes into this whole thing now where they saying they're gonna get rid of the karmic debt, so you won't have to do the karmic debt. That's because that's all of this is people getting smarter now, and they realizing that this it's a whole game you running because if it's an illusionary phenomenon, if we all actors on the stage, and when I get back here, I remember that, we all actors on the stage. Why do I have to go clear up karma from a movie I did? That's just like Denzel Washington going back and apologizing to the white boy or doing another training day because he screwed the white boy over in the first training day. That wouldn't make no damn sense. They're gonna be like, "What?" The white boy gonna say, "Well, this is a movie. Why are you apologizing? It was a movie. We was actors on a stage. We don't got karma from that. It was a movie. The whole karma thing is a game. It's what they run on you, get you to come back. And this entity is the same entity that everybody's been talking about. This Adal Abra, this Yahweh entity, this entity that sits over the whole Christianity. This is the same entity. The I am your God entity. I created man and woman from one, and there shall have no other God before me. All of that. That's that's this entity that's
so you
claiming,
saying Jesus,
yeah, that's
Jesus.
claiming this the created to sit over this world. The the Jesus is based on the Bible. The Jesus being that you see is the Antichrist, which is the Christ represents the black Christos, the crown, the black crown around the head. You are the Christ. This Jesus character represents the Antichrist. Because they say in the last days, they will erect a statue and they will come in my name, and they will erect a large statue for him in the world, and over 2/3 of the world will go by this religion, and they will give you the mark of the beast. But what is a mark? In Roman days, mark was money, currency. The mark of the beast. That's money. They saying, and my people will still, I will help my people to still be able to live and go without having the mark of the beast. That means your ass to be broke, but you still be able to get money and stuff, and you still be able to live. But you won't have the mark of the beast. You won't have a lot of money.
So you saying that this energy of this entity that Delores Cannon was talking to is that entity, that Yahweh entity.
Yeah, yeah, that's that entity. That entity. If you watch all her videos, she said the entity even claimed to have created the earth. Well, that was the first sin because the abomination was made when you covered over the seed of the earth. Because you fell down into a 3D creation because it was an imperfect creation. Meaning that even she said that they told her a comet hit the planet and it left this shit, what is it? This germ, and creation started to fall. This is where they talk about the fall of man, when basically the vibration started to slow down because of the environment that you were in. The vibration started to slow down, just like the cog in the wheel. You put something's going real fast, and you throw. If you got a wheel that's going real fast, you throw something slow in it, it's gonna slow it down. It's going to eventually, it's going to keep slowing it down until it stops. It's going to lose its momentum. Uh, and this this happened because the creation was an imperfect creation. It was able to fall because the creation was already imperfect. Because the people that sat over the creation, or the entity that sat over the creation, was not an entity that was supposed to be doing that. The way it works is this masculine and feminine. You have an ebb and a flow. The pendulum swings both ways. The the ebb is the initial spark of energy that begins to move the pendulum. This is what people say masculine, because it's an unseen point. It happens all in an instant. And the flow is the feminine. The flow is what swings the pendulum. It takes the ebb, the energy from the initial ebb, and creates the complete motion of the pendulum. This is also how the Great Mother creates. It uses the initial spark to create the entire motion of the pendulum. Once the pendulum gets to a certain point, it sparks again, and it swings back the other direction. This is essentially the ebb, the masculine and feminine. This is also what they're talking about, the Big Bang, because you had the spark and then the flow into creation, which is when all the atoms start to form and start to go through. This is the mother, or what they call the mother, or the divine feminine, or the flow, the eternal flow, creating creating life or the universe. So what happened here is that beings, or this entity, this Adalabra, which it is a masculine energy, and it is a spark. Therefore, it did not contain the knowledge or the eternal flow or the mother energy to create a universe. That's why they say a universe is sit a planet on top of something that was already there. So what it did was spark a creation and transform the energy that was already there. And like when you go buy like a shelf or something from the store, or something you got to put together, right? And you go put it together. Now you come back, you got all these screws and shit left over, right? That means you didn't put it together right. You're not supposed to have screws left over. Everything's supposed to be used in. That's essentially what happened. Because it was not the correct type of entity to do this, it created an imperfection. Screws left over. This is also where uh, certain beings came from, a lower form of being that still had the right to exist. They wanted to exist. These are like the extra screws saying, hey, instead of being thrown away, they're saying, hey, man, I got a right to exist too. Just because I'm a screw and you messed up, that don't mean you get the right to just throw me away. So those etheric offshoots became lower vibrating beings, or that you say the powers that be. That energy became two. That energy wanted the right to exist. Therefore, they had to have a body or something to exist in. This is where the Yakub story comes in, grafting out of the imperfections. I think Bobby talked about this too. So that energy, at first with us, which that energy is what caused us to fall in the first place. That was the imperfection that caused us to fall, caused the vibration to slow down. That was the cog in the wheel. And throughout all of this time, what we've been doing, one of the things is grafting that energy back out. And that energy had to have a body that was conducive of it in order to move on. That's where you say the 0.001%, the demonic people or the powers that be. This is that energy. That's why they operate like that. So that energy had to have a place for it to be so it can be in the physical. This is why the Yakub, the scientist, went in, grafted it out, because it was something that had to happen. Because remember, by this time, we were in a mass plummet. We had fell from lofty heights to where we weren't even physical. Now we were falling. That's why they say the first on the planet was a female. Uh, because, yeah, I mean, at one point on this planet, yeah, it was just females. Most of the men either came here from a different planet, from other star systems, or the females fell to a certain point to where the genes started to mutate or started to slow down as well, to where they started having male children, because the body started to adapt to where the environment is going. This is why men are more better with the physical. We're denser. We're a lot heavier, more fit to this third dimensional process than women are. But women are easily more spiritual because the female body already came from a higher place where it was more spiritual anyway. Just like when we first started going over all this stuff, I was telling you I was meditating and one nothing happened. You went and meditated for like a week or two and come back. You was like, oh, I went into trance. You remember that? Where I had been doing the shit and when nothing happened. But you went and do it for like a week and it just popped right online. That's why you have to have a lot of female mediums because y'all are already in tune uh, with higher energies or dimensions or vibrations. So it's easier to break through because it's already in tune with that. But it's not in tune with the physical. It's like lifting heavy stuff and all of that. It's not because y'all didn't come from that. That's why you got the Y chromosome, the X chromosome. The Y is a mutated, uh, not necessarily mutated. It's an adaptation to where the vibration, to where we would potentially end up. And the body had to adapt because, like I said, at one point, even coming into the body was an adaptation. That's why they say, what was first, the chicken or the egg? And everybody, ponder an answer. I heard this, well, the answer is the chicken gives birth to the egg. So the chicken came first. Well, how did the chicken come first? The chicken was a spiritual entity. It already came there. It already was there. And it fell down into the physical, meaning it slowed down so much, and I'm relating us to the chicken. It slowed down so much to where it was like the body formed around it. And that's how it became first, the body or the chicken. And even the guy that made Atlantis and Lemuria, I forgot his name, the white guy. The book is called Atlantis and Lemuria. I got it on like the ebooks where they talk. And he was talking about it to how where, eventually they got to a certain point where they were speaking. But the way he was describing it is the way they was moving up in consciousness, where they needed to talk. And they was learning how to do this stuff. What was actually happening is they was falling down in consciousness is to where now they was having to learn how to do this stuff.
That's why I was gonna ask because I feel like talking is not going up in consciousness in my mind. Like you should be able to communicate,
Yeah,
without actually speaking. In my mind, it's like a lower consciousness.
yeah. I've did that before. I've had like I knew a person to where we had this thing where this girl I used to date, we had this where we would always come in the kitchen and every day we'd be, we'd talk and stuff and we'd go over dinner and stuff and, we wouldn't go over dinner. We'd be talking about our day, what happened and all that. And eventually throughout this ritual, and we was learning, I was teaching her stuff, about being spiritual. And eventually what happened one day was she was coming into the kitchen, she was walking down the hall. She came in and everything she wanted to tell me was just coming in. I knew it just instantly. It's not like how we talking now. It's in an instant. You'll know everything the person wanted to tell you. And I was telling her what she wanted to say to me about what happened to her day, verbatim, everything that happened, detail. And something happened. And this is why I know when they say the fear will shut you down. Her hands started shaking. She said, this is getting scary. And from that second, I couldn't do it anymore. It was like it shut down. It was like the gateway between my mind and hers shut instantly
So it's like she
because her
blocked
hand
you.
was shaking. She was scared. The fear shut her down almost instantly. It got to be a two-way connection. You can pull certain things out of people's head, but that's when they don't know. Like somebody be thinking something, you'll say it. That's possible, yeah, but that's kind of like some psychics can do that. They can pull stuff out of your head, but for you to be, but you have to be open to it, and you can block. Fear is the easiest way to block. You get scared, and fear they probably not gonna be able to read you at all. They'll be able to read you scared. Other than that, not really much. Hold on. Yeah. So, and you were asking about the dollar broth, and did I answer that question?
You did, but I know we were also talking about, like, how everybody was talking about the new 5D and we going into 5D and all of
Oh, okay.
that.
Okay. So the 5D, the fifth dimension, that is still a part of this plane of reality. So, and what based on what the Delores Cannon was saying, she was saying, yeah, we're gonna go over there, we're gonna go into the 5D, and it's gonna be eventually people are gonna stop, they're gonna start to where they're gonna know more of a fruit and then they're gonna go to where mostly it's just like drinking shakes and stuff like that. And eventually people are gonna stop eating. You're not gonna have a need to eat. And then eventually people are gonna start living longer and they're gonna get back to where they can be, where you can leave the body at will and where they're gonna be more of that's vibrating so fast, it's gonna be more of a spiritual entity instead of physical body. But the trap with that is most of the beings that's going over all this information not from this planet. There are some people their souls were seated here, yeah, but all of the beings that most of the beings, all the people that's into this spiritual stuff that's going over all this, we not from here. A lot of us Sirius, Pleiades, we from different. Our souls are older than the God that created us because we were seated in the beginning of this universe. Some of us are even so old to where we were seated in another universe that preceded this universe. And we just end up coming here.
We got 10
So,
minutes.
okay.
I mean, we
So,
could probably stop and start again after the 10
yeah,
minutes is up, but 10 minutes.
okay. Yeah, that's cool. So yeah, some of us even preceded this universe, but most of us were seated from the beginning to where we're older than this planet and the beings that the Dollar being or these beings that expose themselves through the Delores Cannon is talking about. And this is the 5D thing, which everybody's not realizing. You're going into the 5D is still a part of the earth realm. It's still attached to the earth realm to where you're still going to be food for these entities. It's like just a higher form of it. It's like you were saying before when you playing Mario Brothers. It's like you going from Mario stage 1.1 and you go down through the tunnel or 1.2 and you go down through the tunnel and you skip and they send you all the way to like the fifth dimension. You get to skip all those stages 2 and 3. You skipping all of that. Now you get to go up to his 5. Oh, it's nice. It's bullets shooting everywhere and shit. You can fly now. You get the Mario tail. All this other type of stuff is happening. But you still playing Mario. You still playing the same game. And after you beat the game, it don't do nothing but reset because you just came from the end. Now the beginning is all new again. You still just getting fed off playing on the same game. It's even like they said in the Matrix. They're moving you from one matrix to another matrix, just on a so-called high dimension. Just because don't nobody got their foot in your ass, it's still a plug in the back of your head. You see what I'm saying? It's just gonna be it's the same thing.
Like, to
Because
me,
even
like what you say reminds me of kind of like how like let's say you start off in high school and you into like listening to like rap music or celebrities, then you go to college, you get into government and politics. Like you feel like you're evolving, right? And then you like, oh, let me get this job and get my life together. You really feel like you're evolving, but you're still on earth in this game. That's what you're saying,
Yeah,
right?
yeah. Because even high school and college, uh, the difference between high school and college is just they teaching you how to play the earth game. That's all they teaching you. You just in training stage '01 in high school. College, you go to training stage '02. This is more depth training. This is why when people go to college, the more college they get, the harder it is for them to get spiritual information because the programs have been set up in such a way where they can't grasp the spiritual information because it's always going to be a block. It's just a block. They don't. So, yeah, it's basically the same thing. It's just a training for a training for another training, which you can be fed off of. Just going from training stage '01 to training to advanced training. Now you're going to play the stage one. Stage one Mario Brothers. Here we go. Right? Just like they give a tutorial on how to play the shit and then let you play the shit, but you think you're playing something else. And then you go down, you skip from the third dimension to the fifth dimension, but you're still playing the same damn game. It's the same thing. Got everybody fooled. This is why Panic made the video, How to Die and Not Come Back. Because the whole point is even where the pharaohs was laying down stuff, how to die and not come back. Is the point is to get out of here, is to stop the game. And that's also why in the movie Soul, where when he was leaving at the end, he had no more regrets. He had feel like he had nothing else to do. He voluntarily went towards the end. This is why the lady Yeri came out and stopped him. She was saying Jerry, but if you look up Jerry, it's synonymous with Yeri, which is synonymous with this whole Dalabra Yahweh entity. That's what it means, Yeri. That's what she was calling herself. That's like how we was talking before. That's how the entities work. It's a whatever, multiplicative, multiple entities, but it's one entity. And the other guy who she was calling Terry, if you turn on the captions, you will see clearly that she was calling him Terry. It just sounded like she was saying Yeri like the other ones. He was representing the demiurge, which the demiurge is that which feeds off you. You do the accounting and stuff to keep you down here. Uh, just like the example like I gave before. If the Yeri was gonna take their hand and slap you in the face, the the Terry or the demiurge entity would be the energy she used to move her hand and slap you. It's the same entity, it's just a twist on who it is. It's just representing it outside of itself so you have something that you can identify with to understand it. But she stopped him in the end because he had no karma, he had no regrets. He was going to be at a point to where when he got into the afterworld with the whole Delores Cannon thing, they couldn't force him to come back, or they couldn't convince him to come back because he didn't have anything else he wanted. Therefore, he had cleared up all of his so-called karma. Now he had to move on. It was nothing else. This is why she stopped him, because he had to come back to Earth to get something else. And that something else was the girl in the beginning, is to where when the dude was in his body, he said, "Who is Lisa? Who is Lisa?" And he was like, "No, don't go into that." And that's what they wanted to get him re-stuck back down here. That was the other karma. That is the whole twin flame shit. Is
Explain
to
what you
keep
mean.
it adds to another trap to keep you down here. Always searching for the twin flame. It's the ultimate trap because here you're separated. It's supposed to be like that. Twin flame energy makes you feel connected, and you'll keep searching for that connection down here. But the trick is, if you stop coming down here, that connection would come to you. You would have it in the if you went where you were supposed to go, which is out of here. You'd have the connection. And that also goes into this Matrix 4 stuff.
Okay, hold on for a second.
Okay.